Welcome back to Hockey Talks. I'm Carl, that's Dave. Let's get right into it here. There's some big things going on in the NHL involving the superstars of today's game. Notably, Conner McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't heard yet, Conner McDavid
Causing trouble.
causing trouble in the neighborhood with Conner Garland. If you haven't watched the game on Saturday night, there was almost looked like a little bit of a wrestling match between Conner McDavid and Conner Garland.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Canucks were winning that game. It came down to the last few seconds of that game is when this all unfolded.
Yeah.
But ended up Conner McDavid cross-checking Conner Garland in the head. So, in behind the play, right after that happened, Tyler Myers from the Vancouver Canucks cross-checked Evan Bouchard in the head. So ultimately, they both had hearings earlier this week, and it came down on Monday night that they each get a 3-game suspension. So this isn't the first time that both of them haven't been suspended.
Yeah.
They've both been suspended before, right? And been fined before. But 3-game suspension.
That's pretty crazy.
Conner McDavid.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it was the right move for him to make?
To what? To cross-check?
Yeah.
No.
Or do you think it was like an accident or,
An accident? No. Definitely not an accident. High emotions, obviously.
Yeah.
But, okay, Conner McDavid.
So,
if you go back
Go ahead.
to the previous game, not against the Canucks, but against Minnesota Wild, did you hear about that chicken wing?
No, I
that
didn't.
they talk about? That
Chicken wing?
they call it a McChicken wing, is what
Oh.
they're calling it. Anyways, it's Conner McDavid elbowed Minnesota Wild player in the head, and he left the game, didn't return. So
he got
and then
chicken
he
winged.
didn't get a penalty or nothing
Oh, dear.
for it. Nothing.
Really?
Nothing at all. And then this game, ultimately, that maybe had something to do with it, but there's been a lot of reaction coming around to this suspension. A lot of people agree with it. A lot of people don't.
Why wouldn't someone agree with that?
Okay, yeah, that leads me to my next question. What do you
Okay.
think of it? What do you think of that? Do you agree with the suspension?
I mean, frankly, I agree with it, but the part that I don't agree with is the selection of which players get suspended based on these things. I don't know whether, how much... Pardon me?
The Stars, right?
Yeah. So, the example I use is Marchand. Marchand probably has a really good relationship with a lot of the referees. He's very charismatic, got a silver tongue kind of person. And he does a lot of the stuff he gets away with. So, the good thing I like here is that it looks like they're going to start to get called for their stuff.
Which is good.
As long as that's how it is. And you're not just doing this for other reasons.
Yeah.
But there's 2 quotes I want to bring up. One of them is from Ovechkin saying, "Too bad for them," and good for us.
Yeah, I heard that he said that, yeah.
And then Crosby actually had said something. His was a bit longer though. I'll read it out here. So he says, "Sometimes your emotions get the best of you. It's a physical sport. The one time you see that, you probably didn't see their 9 hits that Conner took. Those ones are the ones that never make the highlights. When you retaliate, you make the highlights." So that's words out of Crosby's mouth, and that's why I say, is it fair? Where was all the penalties on Conner's bad hits? Did the refs just not see it? Is McDavid the right guy to retaliate, or do you think emotions got a hold of him?
Oh,
It's like if somebody else were to have done that cross check, would they have gotten 3 games? Is I guess my question.
Or do you think he got more if it wasn't a...
Or if somebody else did it, would they have gotten more?
Well, look, Tyler Myers got 3, but I think they had to match it, right? Because if you say Tyler Myers gets 4, McDavid gets 3, well, there's going to be a lot of questions, especially with Canucks fans, being why wasn't this treated equally? I mean, the cross-checks to the head seem pretty similar to me.
Yeah.
Right? They're both intentional, and there shouldn't be any difference. So I like it that they put them both at 3 games. I think I wasn't expecting 3 games, honestly. I was expecting maybe 2, maybe 1. especially, right, given the circumstances of Connor McDavid. But I'm glad they did 3 games.
Yeah.
And McDavid is not a player who shies away from physical contact.
Yeah.
He is always in the mix, and he's not shy. He will come after people, right?
Yeah.
If you see some of the stars, right, they'll let somebody else do that for him. But McDavid, he'll just handle stuff himself, right? So that's no surprise to me. But I mean, yeah, I agree with the suspension. I think people say that no, he shouldn't. You have to protect the stars. Leon Draisaitl. Here we go. He said we have to protect the stars. Or Corey Perry, actually. That's another better example. He said that shouldn't have been a suspension at all. It should have been, you got to protect the stars, the bright spots to our game that keep the game going, right? And they got to look after them before they look after everybody else. And I completely disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to do a cross-check to the head, which the league is trying to eliminate, you're going to get penalized for it.
Yeah.
That's it. I think he deserves every bit of that 3-game suspension.
Yeah. Anytime I hear the words Perry, I just remember what he did to Tavares and how he made it look like it wasn't on purpose and how we didn't get anything for it. But, you know, thanks, Perry, for your input.
Yeah.
But I disagree. I would say respectfully, but actually I don't respect him very much, so I just disagree, Perry.
Yeah.
Bit of least dirt on that one, but that's okay.
A lot of fans saying they like what McDavid did. They don't like the cross-check to the head, but they like that he's showing physicality and stuff like that, and maybe he should have gotten a lesser amount than they should have. What do you think on that?
I don't think it's... No, not at all.
Not at all.
Don't do that. Don't do it.
A cross-check.
It's never right.
No.
It's never an okay thing to do.
No.
It's always a bad decision. It doesn't matter how many times the other team makes dirty plays. The game goes on, and it's just, learn to play that type of team. But unfortunately, the way you learn to play that type of team isn't by hitting them in the head with a cross-check.
No.
Have more control than that. At the end of the day, nobody deserves that. You can't really predict the aftermath of something like that. So you just don't do it.
Exactly.
It's like, imagine if these players all started aiming for other players' heads when they slap the puck, right?
Yeah.
Like, give it a good hard shot. You don't do that.
No, you don't.
Right?
It's
never okay.
It's never okay, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
I think I'm one of those guys that believes that the Stars should not be treated any differently than anybody else on the ice.
Yeah.
If you do something stupid, you should get penalized for it. Whether you're a star or not. Sure, the Stars, people come out to see. The fans pay big money to see, right? And if they're not part of the game, well, it drives.
And if something
pay a lot of money to see these guys, right?
And if something goes wrong with that player, get someone else and fight him.
Yeah,
fight him. No cross check to the head, McDavid.
Well, that's
you want to start to show off your strength and all that. Drop your gloves and fight.
Yeah, fight him. Don't cross check somebody in the head.
I'm not calling him out on being weak. I'm just saying,
no, exactly.
There's a right way and a wrong way.
Yeah, you look at if there's something wrong. If you want to handle something, fight a guy.
Yeah,
fight a guy. You can do that. You don't need to cross-check something.
And so it's people that
getting up.
It's people that do that kind of stuff that are scared to fight. I'm not saying Connor McDavid's one of them, but I'm saying Luc Marchand is one of them. He's scared. Marchand.
Oh,
yeah. Or Brad Marchand, sorry, no.
I was saying, I thought I heard Luke, but Brad Marchand,
Brad Marchand is one of them.
Afraid.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it goes like Auston Matthews got suspended for 2 games. I think it was slash to the back of the leg or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't remember what it was exactly, but he got suspended for 2 games too, right? I'm glad that they're cracking down on it and not just giving him the star treatment, which they kind of did on that Minnesota game.
Yeah.
They didn't call a penalty even, which definitely should have been a penalty because he left the game and didn't return. So, I don't know. You got to start cracking down. I'm glad they did something. 3-game suspension. I think it's fully worth it.
Yeah.
But we got to move on. Auston Matthews, I was talking about him. He's starting to play some good hockey now that he's back, and he's continuously playing games.
Yeah.
He's on a 4-game goal streak.
That's awesome.
Going 4 games straight. So he's starting to slowly get back to his old self.
I think the Leafs are actually on a 3-game winning streak right now too.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they just beat the Lightning 5-3.
Yeah.
As well. So
yeah,
they're showing theirs. They're top of the league. I don't know about the other conference actually, but they're top of theirs.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, in their division, they are the top there. Yeah. They're playing some really good hockey right now, and having Auston Matthews back and scoring goals again can only help.
Yeah.
Right. So it's good to see that he's back and looks like he's feeling healthy and starting to get back to his old self.
Build some chemistry up and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I actually got a question for you. So this is the quiz question of the day.
Uh-huh.
So Auston Matthews, how many shorthanded goals does he have?
Shorthanded in his career?
Yes. NHL career, yes.
NHL career, yeah. Man, like 6?
1.
And
he scored it. He scored it a couple nights ago, actually.
Oh, really?
Against Montreal Canadiens. So
that was his first one.
Yeah. Oh. Montreal was ahead 3-0 in the first period, and the Leafs went on to win 7-3, I believe.
Yeah, they scored 7 straight in that game. Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one game in their 3-game winning streak here.
Really?
Yeah, 1 shorthanded goal. So I mean that's something for him.
Yeah.
And one other thing actually is we talk about this so often we may as well make it official. An Ovechkin tracker. Yes. So he has 874 goals out of 894 goals. So he's officially 20 away.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking kind of tired. I mean, not maybe looking tired, but if you look at the stats, like he's kind of leveling out a little bit now, right?
Yeah.
So he'll get a few shots every game. He'll get the odd bounce, in. And he also set a record. I can't exactly remember what the number is, but the most amount of goals he's scored on. I think it was 174 or something, 179 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's still setting records.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's been in the game for a long time now, right? It's good to see he can still play at this level, right? I mean, he's 38.
Yeah. But he is fizzling. I mean, I know he's good and all that, and if you get him in the playoffs, he'll dig deep and he'll be able to be good for a few goals a series for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But in the season, it's kind of
fizzling a little bit.
As Wayne Gretzky himself said, it's all fun and games when you're approaching the record, but the closer you get, the harder it gets.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
We'll see how many more empty net goals he can get.
Yeah, you still on track for him beating it this year?
Well, they got enough games left to play. 20 goals left to get this year.
Yeah.
The injury kind of put a sidetrack on things. Before the injury, I was at 100% yes, he'll do it this year.
Yeah.
But I do think that he still has it in him this year. Bear in mind that it doesn't include playoff goals.
Yeah.
That record is by Gretzky. It's like 1,100 and some, including season and playoffs. 11.5, I think, or something.
Yeah.
That's just unreachable at this point by him. So
yeah, it's a long ways to go for him.
Yeah.
Although I don't know what his numbers are with playoff goals as well. Do you?
Not offhand. I couldn't imagine it being over 950.
No, I don't think so.
No.
With playoff goals and stuff, yeah.
If he would have won the cup, maybe not 6, but like 3 or 4 times and gone deep like that.
Yeah, they were
maybe
too deep in any of the playoff runs except for that 2017 run that they won the cup in.
Yeah, exactly.
Or was it 2018? I think
it was pre-COVID.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but that's a fun OV watch.
Yeah. We'll keep talking about that every week.
We'll talk about it all the time until he breaks that record, which he will break the record.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Jersey and Carolina. Okay, so we talked about Miller and Pettersson being on the
trade block.
Which
they are.
Well,
even though some people seem to not agree. That's fine.
Yeah, they've been talking. They've been looking at potential trades to trade them both, right, and see which fits.
We actually got a comment of somebody clicking on our video to comment on it saying they're not. So just saying this,
Okay, yeah. They are both actively looking at different options for Pettersson and Miller.
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey and Carolina have been interested in Miller. A lot of people have been interested in Miller, actually.
More than Pettersson.
More than Pettersson. So Pettersson hasn't had too many waves yet, which isn't all that surprising, right? But Miller has gained a lot of interest. New Jersey and Carolina are in talks with Canucks about trading for Miller. Nothing else in the works yet, but it's just been discussions and talks about what they could potentially do. One that was almost through was with the New York Rangers, to the point where the Canucks were ready to sit Miller on Saturday's night game against the Oilers. He was ready to sit him, but then the trade fell through, and then ultimately he ended up playing that night. But the trade would have gone down like this. For JT Miller, Canucks would have received Philip Chittle, Ryan Lindgren, and some future assets, including a first-round pick. Where the disagreement was and why the deal fell through was they couldn't figure out the protection structure of the first-round pick. So if you get a trade, they want to have some security of that's going to be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Right? Not, it could potentially be a first-round pick and then not be a first-round pick if something happens, right? But they couldn't figure that out. They couldn't figure out that part of the deal. So ultimately, it just ended, right? The whole trade just ended. But they were that close to sending Miller to the Rangers once again. As he used to play for the Rangers a few years ago before he came to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Where the Rangers traded him to the Canucks. But yeah, so ultimately there's a lot of discussion for JT Miller right now. And it almost looks like that he will be traded at some point.
Yes.
So that I don't think is a question anymore. I think JT Miller will be traded at some point by the trade deadline. Just don't exactly know where and who and when. But that is not confirmed, but pretty much a go for the Vancouver Canucks. So that's what it's looking more and more like. So where he'll go, we'll have to find out. But teams are definitely interested in him. What are your thoughts on getting rid of Miller?
I think it's great. Get rid of them both, you know. You can go ahead and I know you're a Vancouver fan. And
yeah.
I know between the two, I believe you prefer Miller.
I preferred Miller. I wanted to keep Miller, right? He's got more grit to his game.
Yeah.
He fights harder.
But
way more potential, I think.
How many games are you, in the locker room for? You know?
Me? No.
Yeah. You don't know what all goes on in the back.
Down. Exactly.
Right? And so
Miller's a fiery guy, right? Really fiery guy.
The thing that interests me here, though, isn't Miller. It's Pettersson. Why is nobody interested in him? And it makes you wonder, what's the issue here between the two? Is Pettersson really as much of just like a personality, we'll say, that he can't really... Yeah, I mean that, but like kind of prissy. I don't really know what the right word is.
He doesn't really stand up for himself, and he lets things bother him, and then it shows in his
and he holds grudges.
Shows in his gameplay, and he doesn't perform
like only playing when the other player's not there.
Yeah,
things like that.
It's been happening.
Yeah,
right when Miller hasn't been there, but it also has happened the other way.
Yeah,
when Pettersson's not there, Miller's also been playing really good.
Yeah.
So it's Miller has not been playing very good right now either.
Yeah,
and it showed. He's making a lot of mistakes, and you could see Rick Tocchet was really frustrated the other day.
Yeah,
when he came back to the bench. I don't know what they said between the two, and he didn't say, but you could see him yelling over there, and also Miller gets up and goes to the end of the bench.
Yeah,
and just sits there.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what's going on, but there's definitely feud between him and Pettersson.
Yeah,
and something deeper is going on in that locker room that we cannot see, but it looks like Miller is probably on his way out.
Yeah.
But we'll try to keep
up
with the details and see what's going on. Actually, as it further progresses towards the trade deadline, I believe on March 3rd, something like that. But Rangers, we're talking about the Rangers, we should get to this. They're on a 7-game point streak, which is a bit of a turnaround from what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Right? Where they were losing a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
And had all those issues with inside their team as well, right? They couldn't figure things out and trading players, dropping players. It's just, it wasn't looking good. But now things are picking up again.
Yeah.
I don't know why or how, but things.
Well, as we said before, sometimes it's hard to tell what a strategy is until you've actually done it.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously they're doing things a bit different, and it seems like they're trying to remove the negative chemistry from the team. Or maybe instead of building a team from forwards on, like forwards back, they're building it from the goaltender up. So we'll see what they do, but usually there's a plan when you make the moves that they're making.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that JT Miller could be a part of that plan.
He could very well be a part of that plan as well still, right? The Rangers seem to always be in the mix in the conversations lately on everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
They seem like they're restructuring a lot of things in that organization. So far, they're picking it up, see how long it lasts. I'm sure there's still a lot of things that need to be fixed.
Well, there's a lot of hockey teams in the league.
There's a lot of hockey
and a lot of them don't have problems like they do. So, yes, 7-game point streak is great, but there's a lot of contending teams, right?
Absolutely, and they got to stay on that, right? And as soon as they crash, are they going to go back to their same old self that they were earlier this year?
Yeah.
Just a few games ago, just crashing hard. But we'll see what they do. See if they make some waves with the Canucks and getting Miller or anybody else on that roster. But right now, they are riding high on a 7-game point streak. So we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, right.
But once again, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks again for watching Hockey Talks, and we will see you next time.
Later.